What's up, people? Welcome to another episode of Soul Food Sundays. My name is Keita. Um, Hope you guys have had an awesome week. I am keeping you all lifted in prayer as we are all going through this initiation by water. These cosmic energies, what's going on astrologically and energetically, has been rocking my boat, like for real. Man, I was at the gym. Oh, it was earlier this week, so it had to be, no, it was last weekend, as a matter of fact. And I like to finish my workout up with spending some time in the sauna, either reading a book or meditating. And this particular time I meditated, and I just got out feeling real grateful. And when I sat down in the locker room to put my clothes back on, I had a download about a childhood experience that I had that wasn't all that pleasant, but it involved one of my ancestors whom I hold in very high regard. But just that need to forgive and release that energy that had been suppressed and still sitting within my subconscious. And I just was not there, y'all. I'm having the download. I'm sitting there, but I'm in another place. And this little boy, he just came up and hugged me. And I was stanky. You hear me? Not only had I worked out, but I done sat in the sauna and sweated. Yeah. I was like, oh my God, like I stink, but if you want a hug, you can absolutely have a hug. He had to be like 6 or 7. And he smelled his hand after giving me the first hug and me saying that I stink. And he smirked and he gave me another hug, y'all. And in that moment, like, I so needed that hug. Because the situation that I was thinking about was bringing up some emotion that I was needing to reconcile and, make amends with. And I was sitting there in that moment doing it, and it just felt like that particular ancestor sent that little boy to hug me and to console me. And I asked the little boy's mom what his name was, and she said his name was Saul. And that blew my mind, because if you're familiar with the Bible, then you're familiar with Saul, who on the road to Damascus went blind and ended up changing his name to Paul. So I've been doing some research on the significance of that, and it has led me down a journey of discovery about some particular aspects of my journey and like what I'm going through now with people who have nothing to do with what happened in my childhood that I needed to reconcile in that moment. So it's been a whirlwind, and I shared that personal story with you all because that is what this initiation by water looks like. Things are being brought up that are relative to our emotions for us to reconcile, to deal with, to have a chance to handle them differently, to have a chance, like the hangman in the tarot, to see it from a different perspective. But it doesn't always feel good, but it's definitely a blessing. And so this week I'm going to be pulling from the Gateway Oracle and the Oracle of the Mermaids, because this mermaid energy is coming up huge for me just because it's an initiation by water. And as we know, mermaids are comfortable and able to adapt and live on earth to an extent, but also in water. And so I felt like that would be ideal. As a matter of fact, we're going to pull from the Oracle of Mermaids first and then clarify with the Gateway Oracle cards. I hope you guys have checked out me and the Enlightened Daughters premiere of our new series, Entertainment, Taking the Fool's Journey. We just released the first episode, starting with the major arcana of the tarot with the Fool, represented by the number 0, and it was such a dope time. Next up, we'll have the Magician, which is the first stop on the Fool's journey. So if you're interested in learning tarot, or just interested in knowing how those energies may apply to you, check us out. I'm going to have a playlist for all of the episodes, but she and I are going to we're going to alternate whose channels the episodes are being hosted on. So the Magician episode will be on the Enlightened Daughters channel. Shout out to my boo. And we're going to pray before I bring forth this message. So Father God, Mother Earth, ancestors, and spirit guides, we thank you for this moment. We thank you for allowing us to come as far as we have on the journey and giving us an opportunity to rest, to be rejuvenated and restored, dear God. We thank you for guiding us through this initiation by water, by providing signs and synchronicities to us. We just thank you for your love and your light, dear God. We ask that you bring forth the best message for the highest good of the collective as we move forward into a new week. Amen. So Spirit, what message do you have for the collective at this time? Some mermaids. Someone to come out. Bam. Man, this water energy I clap for, Lord. If that shit ain't coming through loud and clear, my name is not Shakita. Wow. We have number 14 breaking down to a 5, representing change, and for some of us, even chaos and conflict. Water flight. Let me move this over so y'all can see this. Water flight. Heaviness lifts. Burdens are cast away. Weightlessness. I had something to occur for me this week that had been weighing on my heart. Just was feeling like a weight on my shoulders, and no matter how much I tried to give that thing to God, I found myself going back to pick it up. You know what I'm saying? Like, I would do such a good job of, it's in your hands, God. You got it. You got this person covered. You know what I'm saying? And I would find myself tipping on over there to try to see what God is doing in that situation, or try to pick it up, you know. And by picking it up, I mean like worry, not like rolling up my sleeves to actually do something to solve the issue, because I know there's nothing I can do. And that thing came full circle this week in a way that did exactly what this card is saying is happening for us. The heaviness was lifted, the burden was cast away, and I felt so light after this situation came full circle for me. So we're definitely going to read the description for water flight, but you all want to be mindful of those type of situations coming up for you. If there's something that has been weighing heavy on your heart, you're either being led to do what it is that you need to do to make it lighter, which is by expressing yourself or taking whatever action that you're divinely being led to take, taking that leap of faith and stepping out, or to sit back and let God have his way. Let God have her way. Give it to God, Goddess, and trust that that weight is going to be lifted off of you. Because for some of us, sometimes the burden is just simply not doing anything, because we're used to using our own will to make things happen, our own resources to make things happen. But we are absolutely living in a time where God is showing us, I don't need you to do nothing. Sit down. I got this. I know, as somebody who's always there for people, always down to jump in and do the heavy lifting and help people. And as one who doesn't care for having to ask people for help, that's something that receptive energy is something that I've been working on, because I do deserve to have help. You know what I'm saying? And I know the importance of just stepping out of my ego and asking for the help that I need. It feels so good to have somebody be like, hey, let me help you. Let me help lighten your burden. Let me come through and do such and such. You know what I'm saying? And so that's the type of energy that we are going to be experiencing as we are going through this initiation by water. Why? Because Lemuria is returning. If you know nothing about Lemuria, Lemuria is one of the fallen societies, like Atlantis, that energy, although those civilizations crashed or ceased to exist in the physical world, those energies are still here. Energy is infinite. It never dies. That is why we sometimes feel the energy of our ancestors and spirit guides, because energy is infinite across realms, across time. Hold on, y'all. I got an interruption. Okay, where were we? Sheesh. Lemuria returns, represented by the number 29, which breaks down to an 11. So this is some real like portal energy coming in for us, or that we are going through with this initiation by water, because Lemuria, as I was saying, is a civilization that is said to have like collapsed underwater. But prior to that civilization ending or collapsing underwater, it was said to be like, it was like a continent that collapsed into the Indian Ocean, and they were said to be like, the way they did things was like heaven on earth. You know what I'm saying? Like, there was just unconditional love for one another. They had advanced ways of doing things, and like it was just like how we envision New Earth. That is what life was like in Lemuria. And so it's saying that energy is returning for us, not only as a collective, but of course personally. So if there's something that in your heart you feel like has collapsed, is no longer even a option for you, it's going to be revived. There's going to be some rejuvenation. Like, you're going to be able to come up from for air and actually enjoy that thing, that person, that experience once again, because what we are dealing with emotionally is helping us to ground spiritually. And so this message of the Lemuria returns is earthy spirituality, community, and ocean conservation. I am going to see what the cards are on the top and bottom of the deck, because as you all know, those carry much significance for the message as well. So at the top of the deck, we have farewell to the moon. Appreciate and enjoy the lunar light and cycles. Represented by the number 17, which breaks down to an 8. Speaking to the abundance that is coming in for us. This next moon that we're having, which I think we have a new moon. Oh my goodness, I wish I had another device to look it up. We have a new moon coming up, and between now and then, be very mindful of how things unfold for you, what things like come back or resurface or are reconciled. Life may look very well totally different and more like that of Lemuria between now and that time, or either this next moon cycle, between like this next new moon and full moon in February. February is about to be lit. That's what I'm saying. February is about to be lit, and it's going to be lit because there's going to be an increased energy of This message at the bottom of the deck represented by the number 39, breaking down to a 12, which equals a 3, because we are better aligning with our hearts by going through this initiation by water. But it's going to require some vulnerability. You're going to have to be vulnerable. Open your heart and allow yourself to be tender. This is reminding me of the Two of Swords card in the tarot. The Two of Swords is a woman. She's sitting down. She got a blindfold on her eyes, and she got two swords crossing her heart. Swords in tarot represent thought and communication. So she's all in her head, refusing, protecting her heart with the way those swords are covering her heart. And she's just taking things from a logical approach. She's sitting in denial about what it is that her emotions are telling her. She's not letting anybody in emotionally, and she's not expressing any emotion. But you can't hold your arms like that forever. You can't keep that blindfold on forever. You were not meant to. You were meant to see the beauty of life. And so it's going to require that you put those swords down. Take that blindfold off in whatever situation you find yourself holding back emotionally, and be vulnerable. Because either you're going to elect to do it, or situations in your life are going to push you to do it. That ain't a warning, baby. That's a promise. That is a promise. So we are going to read the message of... I don't even want to read the one for Water Flight no more. We're going to read the one from Lemuria Returns. This is a message of hope and reconciliation. Like, things are going to start really looking up for those of us who are actively doing this work and staying connected. So it says, do you know of this place? A place where the mother of all was loved and reversed, where you were at one with the land, sea, and the sky. This place was and is Lemuria, and you are connecting with her energy now. Lemuria was and is a tropical paradise that was home to millions of beings who grew and developed out of this planet's earths and oceans, evolving from sea beings into beings of land, sea, and sky, many of them today still able to genetically tap into these ancient memories. Places where Lemurian remnants exist today are many. They are particularly dotted throughout the vast ocean known as the Pacific, which translates to peaceful. Throughout much of Melanesia, Micronesia, and Polynesia, we can find these energies in pockets that are so strong they are almost like stepping into another world. I'm gonna stop right there for a second, because I know in my research I have found that there's a lot of mention of Lemurian energy in Mount Shasta, which is somewhere I've been really led to visit. I've actually been looking into it, but I ain't trying to go right now, honey. It's cold. Mount Shasta is in California. It's in like central or northern California. I know it's upwards of LA, and it is said that there's a lot of Lemurian energy and Lemurian people in Mount Shasta. So it says the energy varies from island to island, from the bare masculine energy of New Zealand to the feminine lust energy of Fifi in Thailand. Lemurians were and still are peaceful tribal people who are advocates of mutual responsibility and caring. Their nature was and is social, not in the sense of wanting to be around people all the time, but in terms of community. Lemurian communities were organically developed so that each person had others they could rely on and be helped by, as everything was exchanged by barter and each person had something to offer. Lemurians thrived and lived on an earth that was peaceful and bountiful. Vegetables and fish are the predominant diets, and many Lemurians were purely vegetarian. Their DNA strands were fully activated. They could shape shift and see far into time. Lemurians were balanced beings, in-betweeners if you like. They were not competitive, nor were they interested in definitions of difference. They nevertheless delighted in diversity. This is the energy influencing you right now. If you are feeling an increased desire to be a part of community, to contribute from, and to benefit contribute to and benefit from community. You're better able to embrace diversity. That is that Lemurian energy, that promotes new earth. But in order to create new earth in your life, because we all have a responsibility to do it, we're going to have to be vulnerable. We're going to have to stop padlocking our hearts, open our mouths. That really explains the throat chakra activation I have been experiencing lately. And have those hard conversations. And we're going to have to be mindful of these moon cycles, because the moon controls the water. The moon also controls the waters within us. We're made of what, 70-80% water, something like that. If the moon controls the tides in the ocean and the rivers and the lakes, why wouldn't it control the tides within you? Man or woman, we are all made up of a large percentage of water. And so it behooves you to be mindful of your emotions as we move throughout the moon cycles. I was reading that even police precincts have reported in research how arrest stats are higher on the night of full moons, or around the time of full moons. So keep that in mind as well as we move through this initiation by water. But it says a time of sharing responsibilities and pleasures, meaningful gathering. Definitely gonna wrap this thing up because my battery about to die. Meaningful gathering with codes and ethics, enjoying a time of great good health and of close and nurturing friendships that respect individual boundaries and choices. Life for a time becomes very simple, seasonal eating, building non-permanent homes, living outdoors for as much time as possible, and ability to work with sunlight and moonlight extremely effectively without becoming wired, as we are often by moonlight, or become burnt and dehydrated as we can be by sunlight. We still need both, feeling less and less connected to the mainstream and more connected to the ocean and the earth. This is not a cliche of being a hippie. This feels now like a valid choice and way forward in a world that worships such false idols as money, celebrity, and fame for its own sake. When I tell y'all, they just spoke a word that time. We got to stop being distracted. Fuck that job. Fuck them people. Fuck these celebrities. I mean, don't get me wrong. I pray for them. But I'm just saying, like, don't spend your time idolizing or worrying about what they got going on, trying to establish your life the way they have established theirs. Like, stay focused on your calling, stay focused on keeping your vibes high, and stay focused on your healing. Stay focused on the people within your community and the community that you were sent here to build. So, Kita girl, I'm gonna call you right back as soon as I finish recording. Everybody want to rap today. I ain't even mad at it. I slick was about to hang y'all up and talk to my boo. But we're going to clarify this message with the Gateway Oracle and wrap this thing up. Yo, I'm so excited about the energy that is coming through, because what it is telling us is that trouble don't last always. And we've been going through some tough times, but we about to get a break. That abundance about to come washing on in. So Spirit, please clarify this message for us. What's the Gateway Oracle? What gateway are we walking through? Because that's exactly what it's looking like. I told you. Looking deeper, deep within me is a majestic radiance. We're going through some things that are causing us to take a deeper look at ourselves and the jewels that lie within us. You know what I'm saying? Like, get to know who you are and your worth and your radiance. You know what I'm saying? Like, there are things that are within people, a lot of us, a lot of the time, like, that people can see in us that we don't see in ourselves. It's time out for that. Take the time to get to know yourself to the point where when somebody gives you a compliment or really tells you something about yourself, you can receive that compliment. You don't have to go into a shell, hide, try to be quote unquote humble and meek and mild and be like, oh, me, no, yes, me, thank you, I appreciate that, I've worked hard on it. You know what I'm saying? Look deeper, because that is where you're going to not only find your radiance, but you're going to find your gifts. stepping into stillness. My power is born in the majesty of silence. And as you can see here, this lady is sitting on a half moon, emphasizing that importance for us to connect with the cycles of the moon, to rest, to step into our high priestess energy and go within, that divine feminine energy that nurtures, that knows when you need to just take a minute and sit still and nurture yourself. Take a vacation, take a staycation, chill out. I'm gonna take me one. Planting seeds. Seeds of grace are being planted in the fertile soil of my soul. That's that Lemurian energy. Being that earthly spirituality, being grounded, planting seeds by setting your intentions to live an abundant life, a life more in alignment with that of the Lemurians, by eating fresh foods, organic foods, building community, and unplugging from the mainstream media, mainstream ideas and philosophies and opinions. Like when you really take that time to step into stillness and look into your own radiance, you can form your own educated opinions about things, or come to better know the truth about things. And at the top of the deck, we have listening with your heart. That's that vulnerability and not trying to rely solely on your logic to make decisions, but also allowing your heart to lead you. Because on the other side of having stepped out on faith and done that is savoring pleasure. I fully embrace bliss in my life. As you can see here, there's a wine glass, there's music symbols, there's roses, there's looks like some bath salts, a bubble bath, a mirror. Like being able to enjoy the lighter side of things, being able to be to enjoy the fruits of being vulnerable. Because honey, as long as you walking around with armor on, that shit ain't comfortable. You are not going to be able to enjoy life. I don't want to hug on nobody with armor on. Take that off. I don't want to kiss on nobody with armor on. That ain't no good, sugar. Take that off. I need you naked, bare, vulnerable, heart to heart, chest to chest. So as you are connecting with people, moving throughout this week with your emotional experiences, being intentional about your emotional health, I hope that these messages are come up, or you are reminded of them, so that you can better navigate these energies. And with that being said, y'all, peace.